Finally, the Timbers have some squad depth. But how will they do in a red-hot Houston? So welcome back, new and returning viewers, to I think it's the 11th episode of Talking Timbers now, and today we're going to be match previewing the game that's going to happen tomorrow night away at Houston Dynamo. As I said already, finally the Timbers have some first team regulars back, whether that be from suspension, international duty or injury. We now have a few more options up and down the field. However, we do still have some players out due to injury, and that's Ridgewell, Farfan, Vitas, Chance Myers and Akugo. And I'm not going to say Arakoyo every week, as that's actually a season-ending injury. We haven't really had much of an update on these players. There hasn't really been a lot in the press conferences. I think Farfan, Vitas and Ridgewell are hopefully only a couple of weeks away, but I'm really not too sure on Chance Myers and Akugo. So let's probably begin this video by talking about the opponents and the home team, Houston Dynamo. So they're currently lying in third position in the MLS Western Conference and are in a fine bit of form. They're unbeaten in their last three and won their last game on the road against DC United 3-1. They won that game rather convincingly, even without their top goal scorer Eric Cubo Torres, who has scored in total of 12 goals this season. A notable performance, however, in that game was by Alex Lima, who simply goes by the name Alex, who recorded a hat-trick of assists during that game. So the Houston Dynamo have a pretty good attack and not a bad defence too, especially at home. This season at the BBVA Stadium, they're actually unbeaten in 2017, having won 8 games, drawn 2 and lost none. So it's going to be very difficult for the Timbers to even get a result, maybe even a draw. However, one factor that's going to affect both teams is the weather. It's projected to be 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius during game time. Now that is extremely hot anyway, and to be playing football is quite ridiculous. The guys are really going to find it knackering. You know, the Houston Dynamo players should be more acclimatized to it than the Portland ones, but it's still nonetheless going to be very interesting to see how substitutes will play a big part in this game. You know, can some attacking players come on and cause a big problem for the defence, especially if they're tiring? Will the standards drop? Will goals be conceded later on in the game? So moving on to the Timbers starting lineup that I would like to see face Houston Dynamo tomorrow night. Now, I've literally been pulling my hair out over which players to choose and what formation to go with. With players like Guzman, Nagbe, Matix and Powell returning from international duty, and Ebabise putting in performances like he did at Vancouver whilst Addy was suspended, it's going to be very difficult, or it's been very difficult for me to choose a starting 11. And you know, when do you bring these players on? Do you start them? Do you bring them on as a sub? And what formation do you play? Because a lot of people have been saying, why can't we see Ebabise and Addy up top? But I mean, if you did that, you might have to go 3 at the back, or you go for a 4-4-2, but then you might be missing the cam, which would be Valeri, and do you really want to miss out on the maestro? So yeah, it's very difficult. What will Club Porter go for? And I've had a big headache, you know, with all these players coming back from international duty and from injury. You know, suddenly we've got loads of options in a couple of positions, especially going forward. So it's been a real headache for me. I can't imagine what it's been like for Porter and his coaching staff, but yeah, this is the team that I've gone for. So I say this is my starting 11, but really there are 2 options. Personally, and a lot of fans actually, I did a Twitter poll, they want to see Ebabise and Addy up top. But how will Porter integrate them into a formation that doesn't really suit a 2 up top? You know, you're going to have to sacrifice players, you're going to have to go probably 3 at the back or 4-4-2 like I already said. Or do you just stick to 4-2-3-1 and have Addy up top and then bring Ebabise on? So I'll just run through the 2 options of formations that I personally think and how the game will play out. So we'll begin by looking at the 2 up top, which would be Addy and Ebabise, and then we'd go for a 3-4-1-2. Now this is a very interesting lineup, and with the players at the minute, I don't think this would work. You'd have Asprilla kind of like a right wing back and Blanco kind of like a left wing back. Now, if we had both Powell and Vitas fully fit, I really think this formation could work. However, then, like if you did swap them, you'd be missing out on Blanco and Asprilla. And I think Asprilla recently has been playing so well, and I think he really deserves to be playing most games, even if that means starting Nagbe on the bench for this one. But you know, the return of Guzman, obviously in midfield, I think he definitely should be straight away back into the starting lineup with Chara. And then yeah, Addy and Ebabise up top. Just going back to the 5 at the back, I really do think it would work. You know, you've got Powell, who's very athletic, and you know, he can get up the pitch and he can get back pretty quick. So why not play him as a right wing back? Try it like the Conte sort of style, and then have not Blanco, Vitas on the left hand side. So I mean, Vitas this season, when he's come on sometimes for Farfan, or just when he's got up the pitch, he really can put a great ball into the box. So he could help going forward attacking, and he could drop back. And you know, you've got Roy Miller there, who's quite a comfortable left back as well. So it's pretty easy for him to cover on the left hand side if Vitas does go forward, and then kind of Powell, to drop back on that as the right back position whilst we're attacking, and vice versa on each side. So let me know what you guys think with that 5 at the back formation. Do you think when Powell and Vitas are fit, it could really work? I personally do, but let me know what you think, and if there is a chance that they'll be doing this for the game tomorrow night against Houston. Now moving on to the 4-2-3-1 formation that we're probably most likely to see tomorrow night, and the 4-2-3-1 formation that I would personally go with. So in goal, of course, we have Gleeson, who had a fantastic game against Vancouver Whitecaps last time round, and at right back we've got Valentin, 2 centre backs, Olum and Mabiala, and left back Miller. So the only real position that's being contested along the back line is the right back. You know, it's between the returning Powell from international duty and Zarek Valentin. You know, will Club Porter choose to go for Powell over Valentin? I personally have gone for Valentin, as I think he's done very well recently. Specifically in that Vancouver game, he had a tricky left winger to deal with, and he did very well. You know, he's a solid player, just mentally and physically, he fills the slot very well, and I think he's earned this start. Now, would you bring on Powell for Valentin as a substitute? Maybe, you know, depending on how the game's going. I think, you know, the fact that it's going to be 35 degrees Celsius, it will tire the defenders. And yeah, so Valentin could likely to maybe be subbed for Powell. But then again, when you think about it, is Powell the right guy you want to bring on as a sub mentally? I mean, not having to go at the guy, but sometimes he can make rational decisions. You know, he's given away quite a few penalties on his career, or in his career, sorry. So, you know, would you want to bring him on and try to get him in the high tempo of a match? Or would you rather start Powell and then bring on Valentin to then kind of... Because I think Valentin is a good guy to bring on. You know, you've seen it recently when Powell's not playing too well, you bring on Valentin and he still has a secure game. He's the kind of guy that can get straight into a match, and you know, whether that's the beginning or the 50th minute, he does pretty well. So in the defensive midfield, I've gone for Guzman and Chara. Now, Guzman didn't make it through to the final like Nagbe, Powell and Matic, so he's had an extra game's kind of rest from them players, so hence why I've given him the start, and I think that he is, well, our best defensive midfielder alongside Chara, so I think that he definitely should be on the starting lineup. Sorry, Zemansky, you've played fairly well over the last few games, not brilliant, but yeah, Guzman every day over Zemansky in my opinion, and you know, Chara is Chara. What a legend. Now, the attacking 4 that I've gone with is Asprilla, Valeri, Blanco, and Addy up top. Now, I've chosen Asprilla over Nagbe, as I think that he's personally deserved this start. He's worked really hard in the last few games, and against Vancouver, he had a really, really good game. One of the best I've seen, you know, both defensively and offensively. So yeah, I'd really like to see him start. And you know, Nagbe's been away of the US for the Gold Cup, sorry. So, you know, I think that this would be a better option with starting Asprilla and then maybe bringing on Nagbe. So in centre attacking mid, I've gone with Valeri, of course, the maestro, and then in left mid, Blanco. Now, that's kind of an argument that you could have Jack Barmby play there, as he has played left mid before, but I think he's more of a substitute player than a starting role. So a couple of you guys may be thinking, why not Ebobisse and why Addy? Now, this links with substitutes. I think that Ebobisse will do much better in this game, taking into the weather effect, coming on as a sub. Addy would do much better starting. You know, he usually gives a solid 50-60 minutes before he gets pretty tired. You know, bearing in mind the Heat, their defenders are going to get tired anyway, so why not bring on Ebobisse and then put him up top? In fact, I'm just going to throw up on the screen the substitutes that I would like to see come on in this game. So if you look at the attacking players, I've gone for Matix for Addy, Ebobisse for Valeri, and either Nagbe for Asprilla or Powell for Valentin, depending on how the game is going. If, you know, we're winning, or if we're losing, or if it's a draw at the current time, you know, do we want to sit back and defend, or do we want to go for maybe a goal or a win? So I talked about bringing on Ebobisse up top, but I've actually decided to bring him on for Valeri. So at the end of the day, Valeri is 31 years old, and playing in 95 degrees Fahrenheit heat, he's going to find it very difficult to produce constant quality in the second half. He's probably going to tire. So I'd say maybe around the 60th or 70th minute, bring on Ebobisse, and maybe for 10 to 20 minutes, go for 4-4-2 up top, and then possibly bring off Addy for Matix, depending on how it's going with Ebobisse and Addy up top. Bring Matix on for Addy, and then maybe play the 4-4-2 system with just Ebobisse and Matix up top instead. And the two possible subs on the right hand side for Asprilla or Valentin are pretty good, even if you're looking to go more defensively solid. In recent games, Asprilla and Valentin have done very well defensively, however towards the end of games they sort of tire, and they need a bit of extra help, or they need to be substituted. And with taking off a Spria for Nagbe, he's going to give you that energy, and he's going to track back and hopefully help Valentin at right back, or you could just take off Valentin, and put on Paul and then just leave a Spria there. But I think the better move would to be actually take off a Spria and bring on Nagbe, because Nagbe's got quality going forward and he can track back. You can ask him to do a defensive role and he will do just that. So yeah, this is the team I've gone with, the 4-2-3-1. If you guys would make any changes to this, whether that be the starting 11 or the substitutes that I bring on, or would you play the two up top? Let me know. I will reply to all comments, whether that's on Reddit, Twitter, and on YouTube. So yeah, let me know what you think. And this is the team that I've gone with. So now moving on to my score prediction. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to the Timbers. And I say that pretty confidently because I think that the team is on a lot of confidence at the moment anyway. The morale's high after that 2-1 win against Vancouver, against all odds really, with a depleted squad. The attack is looking dangerous. The defence has been pretty solid recently. Gleason's on good form as well. And I think there could be another upset on the cards here. Whether that be we get a draw, which I think would be a very good result. And don't take me wrong, I would definitely take a draw right now. But yeah, I think we can win this. And we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a very good game, an interesting one. Let's see how it plays out. So yeah, we're coming to the end of the video, guys. I hope it's not too long and under 10 minutes.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
I hate going over that, kind of lose interest as a viewer. But if you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, as you have been doing recently. So thank you for all the support anyway. And let me know in the comments below what you think, your score prediction. Would you change anything about the teams? And if you haven't already, subscribe to keep yourself updated with more content that I produce about the Timbers. All this support recently has made me so motivated to make more videos, and I really enjoy doing it, so thank you for that support. But I will see you guys in the next video, which will be hopefully a match recap of a Timbers win. Thanks for watching.